buttons.
Hit all the buttons. I'm stuck in mobile phone mode. It's the worst. I can't see anything.
So, oh boy, that means I get to do things.
Yeah, so you get to push all the buttons. That's what everyone thinks anyway. They think you're the button pusher.
I mean, they're not wrong. I do push the buttons.
You push my buttons, but no, it's the worst because there's, this software makes it so easy to run a show. Did you know we're sponsored by StreamYard, Kerry? That the actual software that makes this show, we're sponsored by it?
I think I knew that at one time. I may have since forgotten.
Wow.
We are sponsored by StreamYard. You want to make your own show just as good as this one, but get your very own wall printer, inventor, and founder? Then go to StreamYard. See brogan.me/StreamYard.
If you wanted an audio podcast version of the show, that's hosted by Castos. You can go to castos.com and pick one up. They're great.
They make it really, really easy. If you want to have an audio version of your show, they host your audio files and syndicate them all the places. Super love Castos. And if you want a really good search engine, but you don't want to use the G one, you can do presearch.com and actually earn crypto rewards just for using it if you're logged in.
And you could rank for the wall printer.
It's a darn fine search engine, actually. So
I've been using it for months. I'm down. So we have Paul Barron on the show today. Paul Barron runs a company called The Wall Printer. This is a technology that he had discovered that he hadn't seen being used anywhere in the States or anything, and said, I've got an idea. And as an entrepreneurial person who's run a whole bunch of businesses, he said, I'm jumping right on this thing. This is vertical printing. So it could do walls. It could do all different kinds of surfaces. We'll talk all about that.
So neat.
Even the ceiling.
Do you want to see it? I have a video.
You got a video? Do you want to do that after we run our opening credits or right now?
No, I want to do it right now. But all right, fine. If you want to run our opening credits, I suppose I could do that just because it's you.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gorgone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show.
Happy? Do you want me to do it again?
Yes. No. if it were Backpack After Dark, you could do it 3 times and I'd be happy. But.
Okay. Well, what I think is really cool about this is you can have original artwork, or you can have like something that you've just printed, like you would print anything, and it can put it on your wall like a mural, or you can use it like a billboard to make a billboard kind of thing. It's very cool. So let's check it out.
Thank you guys for coming out and doing this. It's really amazing. It's way better than we expected. The detail is incredible. The color's incredible. And you guys have been a great team, made it really easy on us. So we really appreciate it. We're very excited about our new mural.
I want one.
It's really cool looking.
I want one. How
well,
cool is that?
Now we have the opportunity to drag out the guy who runs the Wall Printer Company, our own newest best friend, Paul Barron. Hey, Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Chris and Kerry, for having me on board.
So cool. How long does something like that take? Like that one? I want one.
It prints at about 20 square feet per hour. So that one was about 10 feet by 10 feet, say 100 square feet. So it took about 5 hours to print it.
And compare that to somebody with a pile of brushes and, an arm.
2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
So
if they're good
different.
and if they're good and they don't make any mistakes, because the nice thing about the software and the technology is that what you put into it is what you get out of it.
This can print on a lot of different surfaces. Like if we said we wanted brick, you said we could do brick. That's interesting to me. Not to get super nerdy about it right out of the gate, but like chemically, Like, what's the fixative? What are you sticking to that wall?
Number one, I will say that this is not a business for nerds, although nerds like it because it is technology. Right. It requires no skills, really. Our training is about a 3 to 4 hour session here or by Zoom to learn how to use the machine. The only problems that ever happen is when people try to get too smart and they play around with all the buttons and everything else, just like using Microsoft Word or Adobe Photoshop or something. It's got lots and lots of features, 90% of which you'll never use and you never care about. Well, our machine is the same thing. But to your point, Chris, you can print on any wall, any surface, indoors, outdoors. We use what's called UV ink, which is heat cured. The minute it prints, it is dry. It can print and hold up without cracks or bubbles or fading. 3 to 5 years outdoors, 12 years indoors. It's designed for any surface: brick, metal, tile, glass, your regular traditional walls of wallboard, sheetrock. If your audience can see behind me, this is my office is in a warehouse that's cinder block, so that's brick, and you can kind of see I'm a little zoom challenged with my finger pointing, but you can see grout and everything else there behind me. And it's an inkjet printer, so it's spraying ink into the wall. So a wall actually doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. It just has to be flat and vertical. We don't do curved walls. We don't do vehicle wraps. We're not a replacement for things like wallpaper to go edge to edge or vinyl stickers. For the life of me, I still can't put the screensaver on my mobile phone without getting some kinds of bubbles in it. I don't know how people put stickers on big walls. But this is designed for wall art. But it will print. It's near photo quality resolution. So you could even print with text if somebody wanted to come in on all their office doors.
Ooh, Chris, refresh.
Again?
Refresh, Chris. Yep. So, Paul, tell me, you were a math teacher originally. So that's what Carol was talking about. And she said, bonjour, math geek representing. It's because I let the cat out of the bag and told everybody that you're a math teacher. So
No. I'm very proud of that. I think mathematics is an unbelievable discipline that carries across pretty much every other industry sector, whether it be music, whether it be doctors, lawyers, relationships, whatever. Math and its logic at the foundation is what always attracted me to it. I do have a master's education, not a master's degree, for truth in disclosure, because I dropped out of my graduate program at UNH for my master's of math and went the route of the business world. But I did teach.
Why? So what's going on in your mind when that's happening? Are you like,
well, all I ever wanted to be was a math teacher growing up. I just loved math. I liked geometry, the logic of it and all that. And in fact, I went to school. I got my degree in education and mathematics. And I got a job teaching in the early 70s. And so I taught, probably teach to this day, 50 years later, if it wasn't for the parents and the administration and everything else, because I wasn't a real rule follower. And so I loved the kids, I loved the students, I loved teaching, I loved math, but I really didn't like the routine and the responsibilities of the organization and administration of the educational system. And so I got early on, I got myself into business. I put myself through college screening tennis rackets for the athletic department. Tennis is one of my passions, along with swimming. And I decided after about a year of teaching that I was going to open up a tennis retail shop because the town I was in upstate New York didn't have anything for the tennis community. And so I opened up a tennis shop, grew that to 3 shops, and then just loved the whole business aspect and the independence of it. And I guess it didn't hurt that the shops were successful. And so I dropped out of teaching, and in my tenure year, I had a choice to either go the retail route or continue on teaching, and I went the retail route. And that was my first business venture of about 15 businesses that I've either worked for, founded, or scaled and exited.
So I want to go into that for a minute, and starting at the current one, and starting at the wall printer, because one thing I was thinking about when you talked about your business and your upbringing and all that, and the fact that you're not such a rule guy, is that a wall printing business, there's not a lot of components to putting a business like this together. You sell to distributors, so someone can say, I want to run a wall printing business, and you can hook them up. So you get them the equipment, the software, the materials, the paint and everything, and the training. what's that work like? What's the franchise experience like, so to speak? And is it
Let me correct you. Let me
franchise?
just correct you there, Chris. It's not a franchise.
Right. Okay.
I have over 15 years of franchising experience.
Okay.
I did not want to have another Dunkin' Donuts or Mr. Plumber, if that's a franchise. I'm not sure. But if not, it's a good idea for somebody. The reason it's not a franchise, even with my background in that, and I was not a franchisee, a franchisor. What I wanted to do is I provided technology. Again, with my math background, I got involved with a company that had accounting software and customer management software, and they wanted to find out how to sell that and how to develop that software suitable for franchises, multi-location businesses. So I had a stint of about several years that I provided technology to franchisers. And I kind of drank the Kool-Aid of franchising to the extent that I thought it was a really cool business model for some people, the whole mantra of being in business for yourself but not by yourself. I kind of like that aspect of it. But I didn't like the fact that the franchisor was always dipping into the pockets of the franchisees, taking money and royalties, and once again, the roof and a lot of requirements.
A lot of rules.
Everything else. I like people to be independent and be creative. And when I found this, it kind of hit all buttons, ticked all boxes, if you will. It was not only a really cool item that I had never seen before, as you mentioned early on in the show. I believe you said, here's somebody who likes to find things that nobody else has found or sees. And I like to see value in that, not only value for the customer who wants a wall printed, but for the real business that I'm in, which is creating business opportunities for others. So that I do just sell the machines. I don't provide the services. I don't do the wall printing. We train people, we support people, we do manufacture our own inks, which is the single most important component of our machines, except for the print heads, which are world-leading industry standard Epson print heads. That actually lets the ink flow onto the wall reliably every day, day in, day out. But the real thing is the business opportunity. So I'm giving people an opportunity, whether they have an existing business like painters or contractors or artists, photographers, people who are in this creative field, or people who, hey, we've got customers who, the fathers and grandparents and moms and dads, their kids are coming out of high school, college. They don't know what they want to do, especially this past year, 2 years with COVID and people being laid off and working out of their houses, getting to rethink what they want to do with their lives. This is an outlet for people who want to do that same independent route. And so you don't need a lot of experience with it. We look for people who either have some kind of passion for something that's innovative. That's what you really have to have. My background is I've spent 4 decades really since that early stint of my tennis shops of finding innovative products and then finding their high value customers, vendors, partnerships here in the United States, doing it for foreign companies who had a product that either had some value that wasn't seen here before. And it might be just helping that company working as a hired gun, which I did most of the time. I retired several times over the years. I decided if I was going to do this again back in 2018, 2019, after exiting a company, helping a company exit, I was going to do it for myself, not for somebody else. And so I found this. And I will say that I do this all the time. I search for things that are interesting. And when I do, my wife is usually in another room in the house, and I call her over and I say, hey, Maureen, come check this out. What do you think? Well, instead of coming into my home office and looking at what I'm talking about, she usually cuts up my credit cards and hides the bank account. Because she says, oh, here we go again.
Chloe thinks it's great that you're providing this opportunity for people.
This one she loved. This one she loved as much as I did. And we went all in 2019 and created this business.
Now tell us about the ceiling painting right here.
Ceiling painting is really cool. So I'm definitely a proponent of I know what I don't know, or I don't know what I don't know. And so this is a great example of something we never thought about for the wall printer, but it was driven by a customer and the creativity and the capability of our wall printing distributor. It happens to be someone in Naples, Florida, who had a customer in Sarasota, Florida, who had a very large mansion, and he wanted 2 rooms in his home to look like the Sistine Chapel with a big ceiling tapestry kind of print. And so he hired the wall printer locally to, they erected a series of wood panels and held it vertically against the wall, as you see here. because that's all you need for our machine is to have a vertical wall or something on the wall, because you don't have to print directly to wall, even though you can. You could print on canvas, you could print on paper, you could print on metal tiles or ceramic tiles or sheet metal or something. But so this is wood that you're seeing that the wall printer printed on. And then they had to hire a general contractor, which is why these adjacency businesses or partnerships are really cool too. And they hired the general contractor and some scaffolding and a forklift operator to bring this up into the ceiling. And what normally would be about a $2,000 retail for our customer, the wall printer, to just do a wall print, because it sells for about $15 to $20, $25 a square foot, in that range, depending on the wall and how much preparation is needed. But generally, let's say $15 to $20 a square foot. So these two panels would cost about $2,000 total, $1,000 each if it was a wall printing. But now, bringing it up into the ceiling with everything else I just described, scaffolding, forklift operated, general contractor, all that kind of stuff, it became a $6,000 job for our customer. And not only was the customer so happy at the end, and if you show the quick clip, and you'll see that he actually popped a bottle of champagne and gave my wall printer a $200 tip when it was all over. So, by all means, show this. I think this is really cool. So there's the wood. This is the wall printer printing on the wood.
Okay. Wow. And you didn't have to pay somebody to lay on their back and do it.
No, they did not. You didn't have to bring back Michelangelo. That's the owner of the house. And that's the finished product.
That's cool.
That music is courtesy of my social media and the marketing manager, Steven, who really likes to be dramatic with all of these different things.
Turn it down.
He felt this copyrighted. Yeah.
I don't want to get copyrighted.
And that was the result.
Wow,
that's impressive.
Cool.
So I had a question earlier that I asked the wrong way, so I didn't get my answer. I want to start one of these. What's the outlay for me if I'm a person wanting to start a wall printer business?
There are two ways our business model goes one of two ways. You either buy a machine. There's companies that have, for instance, existing customers. They don't care about, as you mentioned, franchising. Franchises have territories. We offer territories too. And so if somebody has a customer base and all they want is to service their customers. For example, we have one company that sells wallpaper throughout the entire West Coast, from Washington down to California. And they have hundreds of customers. And that's a population on the West Coast, that might be about 40 million people, 50 million people. We award territories to people just like franchises do based on population. So you can either just buy a machine, and the machine costs about $24,000, or you can buy a territory. And what we do, our business model is slightly different, because I'm not Dunkin' Donuts or Kentucky Fried Chicken or Starbucks. I can't sleep at night. Well, I would not sleep at night if I charged $100,000 for the wall printer, because nobody knows what the wall printer is. This is new technology here in the United States and Canada and South America, the markets we serve. And so what we're not doing is charging people for our name. What we're charging people for when we charge a territory fee, which starts at about $10,000 for up to 250,000 to 300,000 people. Our customers define their territory with zip codes, county lines, city lines, state lines, whatever. We figure out what the population is. We come up with a fair price. And what they get for that price is they get a $5,000 discount on the price of their printer. So when I said a printer costs $24,000, if you just bought the printer, it would be $28,000. If you buy a territory and pay a fee initially, you get your $5,000 discount on your first and every printer. So the answer to your question, in my normal long-winded way of trying to answer you, is $34,000. $24,000 for the printer, $10,000 for the territory, a small territory. That's the minimal for getting an exclusive territory and a wall printer and training and supplies and everything else you need to start your business. $34,000 all in. You get backup
That's
parts.
affordable.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I said grandparents and parents are putting their kids into this business if they're somewhat handy and they want to do this and they have the work ethic, because it's the same price as buying them a car.
Right.
So it is a very affordable way to get into an independent business. Now, truth be told, if you are going to get into a business, there are other expenses. You still have to live and eat and feed your family and yourself. And you do need a vehicle to transport this, because it's not like your desktop printer. You do go
and it
to
gives you like a Kia, like you need something a little bigger.
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
a pickup
actually,
truck.
that's a really good point, Kerry. Our machines actually have a vertical rail that could fit into an 8-foot ceiling room, but it folds in half, so the actual overall height is about 5 feet, and it will fit in an SUV. So
Oh,
an
nice.
SUV. So we have customers that come here for their training, and then they just take it home with them, and they could have a truck or they could have an SUV, and it'll fit in there.
Well, before we move on, I wanted to mention that we are sponsored by Dot Online. If you'd like a Dot Online website, you can have one for 99 cents for the first year. Just go to cbrogan.me/online and enter the code Chris in all caps. I don't know. It's all caps. I don't know why it has to be all caps. Coach Woodard has a question. What's the minimum size one can have this done on their wall? Does it have to be the whole wall, or can you have a section done? He probably just wants that one section behind him for Zooms, I guess.
Yeah, but that's a great question, and I can answer it a couple of different ways. But to be specific, this is a wall printer is for wall art. It is not a replacement for a toxic vinyl sticker that goes edge to edge, and in fact, vinyl can't go outdoors on brick or stucco, things like that, and it covers over everything. But it is not to go edge to edge or floor to ceiling. As you saw from the video, the machine does have limitations because it sits on tracks for stability. And the print head goes up and down a rail, so you have about 10 to 12 inches left, right, up, down. If there are obstructions like walls and ceilings, if you're outdoors or you have a wall that has no obstructions, no big pipes coming out or anything else, or leaders and gutters coming off the roof or something, you could print the full wall with no problem at all. But the minimum size, when you talk about it does near photo quality. It prints at 1440 DPI, which is really good resolution. When your desktop printer prints, it prints out something like 300 DPI, 600 if it's really, really good. But 1440 DPI is the print. And so, and that's so that it can print large murals with good resolution. If you walked up to my office and you walked right up with your nose to the wall, you would see seagulls in this picture and you couldn't make out their eyes. It is near photo quality. It's wall art. It is not designed to be with the actual photographic quality you might see on your phone or your computer with a print that you take with camera, even your phone cameras today. But you could print text. We print text. We print our hours of operation with our wall printer on the glass door coming into our offices. You can go into an office and print text. You could print banners, and that will be perfectly clean lines on all of that. So there's nothing really small. The only problem with printing small pictures is you have to go through the effort of moving that wall printer to the wall. So you still have that effort in your business operation to bring a 150-pound machine to some site. And so you want to get paid for your time and your effort. So $15 a square foot, if I was going to do a 1 square foot picture of somebody's family on a wall, you wouldn't charge $15 because you've got all these other expenses. So again, everything is kind of relative and factored in. And then there are other things, do you have to clean the wall and all kinds of stuff. But as far as size goes, to your question, there's no limit to the size on the small side or on the large size. Again, if you think
you got to have a really good quality image. You said very high
Yeah,
resolution.
you need to have what's called a vector image, which is the type of image format. It's like the extension on it is not a JPEG or a PNG, which are good for your phone or your computer. But for printing, it's either EPS or TIFF or PSD for Photoshop or AI for Adobe Illustrator. It's the tools of the trade for graphics artists. And this is not complicated. Again, no technical experience. We use Shutterstock, talking about different websites, and I'm not promoting them by any means, but we pay $30 a month to download vector images. And just like doing a Google search for something online, you can go to shutterstock.com and say, I want a landscape picture, or I want a picture of somebody surfing. And you'll get thousands of vector quality images. And the advantage, as Kerry pointed out, of a vector quality image is
don't do it on Google anyway.
Yeah, it will enlarge to any size and retain its resolution. That's what you want for a wall mural.
Chloe asked, is it easy to get off or paint over, or could you redo the design in the future if you wanted to do something else?
So it's as easy as primering over it. So if you have a wall, you primer over it. If it's a surface like glass, you scrape it off. If it's metal, you can scrape it off. Tile, you can scrape it off. If it's on wood or stucco or brick or something like that, you just either sandblast it or primer over it, depending on what you want. If I want a different image behind me, this is about the 5th image I put on my wall here. And you can see it's all white around it. It's just white primer paint. You just primer over it. And in fact, the UV ink obscures everything behind it. It actually layers down white behind the image. And so you can, and you might have seen that. I don't know if you remember, but it was showing that in that video you showed in the office, that it was layering down white behind all the colorful images. And so when you did that, you were able to go ahead and primer over that image first and prep the wall that way.
Carol asks, do people design their own? And what's the strangest thing you've ever been asked to print? Is there like a rating? PG-13? Like,
So as I mentioned earlier in response to Chris's question, this is a great business opportunity for people. And I'm all about relationships and partnerships. And one of the things that attracted me to this is it gives the opportunity, if you're not a graphics artist or a graphics designer, you partner with somebody locally. I don't care if it's your local signage shop or just somebody who's a web designer or a graphics artist or a muralist. You get them to go ahead and actually do the graphics image that you're looking to create, and create those types of partnerships if you don't have those skill sets yourself. But that's an opportunity to do that. And I'm sorry, what was the other half of the question?
Carol's. I was asking you, like, what's the strangest thing you've ever been asked to print? Was Carol's question, and mine was, is there like a rating that goes along with it? Like, have you ever been like, no, that's too racy, we're not printing that?
Well, since we don't do the prints and we're not a franchise and don't ask for a lot of feedback, financial or otherwise, we normally get, we get a lot of videos. Our community is very transparent. They're willing to share what they've done, both good, bad, and ugly. And so we haven't really had any that I'd say, boy, I can't believe that person asked for that. But it's a graphics digital image. You can print anything you want. We haven't
like
really
Nyan cat or something. Like put a meme on your wall. Just because.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a digital image, we can print it. But I haven't really had anything that was that strange, except from the unusual aspects of something like the ceiling print or that type of.
I was thinking we should break into Chris's place and put a big floor to ceiling like mural of him, obviously not edge to edge, but just him standing there, looking very serious,
pointing down at me or something.
Yeah. So it'd be like you looking at you all the
Paul,
time.
I had one last question, which was that people probably heard this in your responses, but you do a lot of mentoring, like currently at places like UNCW and the CSB location as well. So you're doing a bit of mentoring with students to talk to them through about how to do business. How's that going? You want to talk about that for a minute?
Well, I'm an old man, so I'm 70 years old. So there's good and bad about that. My tennis and my swimming have slowed down a little bit, but I have a lot of experience, and I don't mind, as you can see from this, I don't mind talking. I don't mind sharing. One of the things that I can do, I'm not an overly wealthy person, although we do, contributions to causes that we support. But at the same time, I probably won't be remembered for a lot of things. But I do like the idea of helping people who want to go this route or want to make a decision. Is entrepreneurship something for me? What do I need to do to start my own business? Or I have an idea. Is this a viable business? Is there a problem I'm solving? That kind of thing. The things I've learned over the years that can lead people one way or another in their pursuit of their own career choices, whether that be a business or working for somebody or whatever else. One of the things I really like to hear people say to me is, can you help me with this problem? Or can you help me understand this? Or what do I do next? And so I have been fortunate to have the opportunity to live in a community like Wilmington, North Carolina, where we have a wonderful university, UNCW, one of the branch universities of the University of North Carolina system, is right here. So I'm involved in what they have as a Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, because their Cameron School of Business, the CSB you mentioned, has a really good entrepreneurship program and business program. And so they've invited me to be an advisor to that program. And it gives me the opportunity to talk with not only students, but also faculty and community members, because this is kind of an incubator and an exchange of ideas. And there is monthly events and weekly events for people who want things related to business. Some people know the law. And so there are lawyers involved, there are accountants involved, there's financial advisors, there's web designers, and there are people like me who kind of wear the sales, marketing, and kind of more generalist hats. And so, it's something I take a lot of pride in. It's something I think that I've added value to other people, whether they've actually pursued a career in a business or just some personal business and decided, no, this isn't for them. Either way, hopefully people get some good information and they don't learn anything less after a conversation with me. And so that has given me a lot of satisfaction, and that's what I do in that
Well,
regard.
Deb Lee says she loves it. You share your knowledge and help others and hopes some good karma comes back to you for giving of yourself and your time.
Well,
You know what?
I appreciate that. And nothing is more important to me. I happen to be very, very fortunate. The people that I've hired here in this business, we've grown from me to a staff of about 10 right now in 2 years. They're all here from the beginning to nobody is left. I think I provide a good environment for them, and they in turn provide a good environment and a lot of energy for me. Of course, I do hire out of the university system as well as interns and people. I'm not big on there's a value to experience, but there's also people who get set in their ways. I like people who can be a little bit more creative and more innovative. Now, kids, don't make me break you two up.
Well, it's that time of the show.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
I'm going with Elizabeth, I think, because you can't pick one from back there, Chris. On the phone.
I really can't.
She's thinking that we should get your head put on Batman with Gotham on the wall behind you. And
We have an app for that. We can do that.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. You should do
Perfect. I'll deal with the wall printer and get that handled.
Mhm.
Now we have this part of the show that we've asked every single guest who's ever been on, everybody from Sir Mix-a-Lot to Sister Ann Flanagan. We ask one question, which is, what goes in your backpack? This can be something physical. It can be something metaphorical. Kerry, what's an example of something physical someone could have put in a backpack?
Extra set of teeth.
An extra set of teeth?
DJ Cumberbund said that. He's another one big on YouTube. There's an intern I know that you hired who's very big on YouTube. DJ Cumberbund does remixes, and he said an extra set of teeth. And we were like,
Okay.
I don't know what the best answer, but he's a wrestling fan, so maybe it's in case you lose them. I don't know.
You can also put something metaphorical in there. Kerry, is there an idea of something you could have put in that's metaphorical?
Kindness.
Kindness sounds like a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Barron, the wall printer himself, what would you add to our backpack?
Well, I'd probably put two things in. One would be a tennis racket, and the other would be relationships.
I love it.
And I don't think there's anything more important, and I'd like to carry those relationships with me. And the backpack would be a suitable place as any.
Congrats.
And you can hit them with the tennis racket. So that makes perfect sense to me. You said earlier, maybe even before we got online, that you were into tennis. Oh, look, it's our theme song. I started learning tennis with my grandfather, but I was really bad. And one of the reasons I was bad is I didn't understand one particular detail of tennis, the real sense of a volley. So I didn't understand playing with my grandfather that I'm supposed to hit it to him-ish, because obviously in the games,
Obviously, that's correct.